to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
You've got it. This transmission is coming to you.
Waging war on corruption.
All right, you are go.
It's Alex Jones, coming to you live from the front lines of the InfoWar.
We see the Earth. You've got it.
It is Sunday, August 19, 2012. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, sitting in for Alex Jones today. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the show. Wow, we have a huge amount of information. The globalists are getting desperate. Today, to be covered here on the Alex Jones Show, we've got FOIA documents that have been uncovered by InfoWars investigators, and this is a big breaking article up on Infowars.com right now by Paul Joseph Watson. Hundreds of pages of once secret documents released under the Freedom of Information Act indicate that the Department of Homeland Security has been surveilling InfoWars and its messages, its articles, when bumper stickers get placed at various locations around the country. DHS is called in, and it's being reported as an act of terrorism. We've got, this whole attack now is underway to try to suppress whistleblowers, to try to criminalize journalism. Infowars.com is under attack by the DHS, by what is becoming really a sort of a Stasi-style secret police investigative branch of the federal government. And at the same time that this is going on, of course, this morning in big breaking news, we had Julian Assange of WikiLeaks fame giving his speech at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. And that speech calls for respecting the free speech rights of journalists. It calls for the freeing of Bradley Manning and the dropping of all charges against WikiLeaks and, of course, Julian Assange as well. That's a huge story we're going to be covering here. But look at what these two things have in common, folks. Both InfoWars and WikiLeaks are being threatened in a huge way, surveilled. Probably attempts to infiltrate them are underway. RT recently suffered a DDoS attack, a cyber warfare attack by what is believed to be a CIA front group because of RT's coverage of Julian Assange. So you're not even allowed. I mean, look at this. So RT's under attack. WikiLeaks is under attack, InfoWars is under attack, being tracked, being surveilled, being described as almost a right-wing terrorist organization by the DHS. This is what it has come to, folks. This is journalism in America today, and we're going to get into this in the next 2 hours here on the Alex Jones Show. Again, my name is Mike Adams, and we're going to be joined in roughly 30 minutes by John B. Wells, the Saturday night host of Coast to Coast AM. And we're going to get deep into these issues, plus a lot of talk about the coming financial collapse and how to prepare for it. So expect a rockin' good show on preparedness and a lot of other truth-telling information that continues to be under attack. Now, by the way, earlier in the week here on the Alex Jones Show, Max Kaiser predicted that the financial collapse would happen before April or by April of 2013. Now, that prediction is not agreed by everybody that timetable is exactly what's going to happen. But Kaiser went on the record and said that's when it's going to happen, because or before then, I should say, between now and April 2013. He says the financial fraud, the house of cards, the monopolistic currency controllers and their derivatives debt pyramid just can't last that long. Something's going to break between now and then. So we are going to talk today with John B. Wells, our featured guest today on the show, about how we can prepare and what we think might be coming down. Now, all of this is tied together because the government itself, the federal government, and I'm not saying all people in the government are bad. I mean, I know FBI agents, I know people who work for the feds, most of them are good people, but there are rogue elements within the government that are running their own show now. They're off the reservation, they're loose cannons, and they are a danger to us all, and they're a danger to our republic. And we've got to find a way to restore the republic, restore law and order, and restore basic human rights and the Bill of Rights in America. So all of that discussion and much more straight ahead right here on The Alex Jones Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.
You are listening to an Infowars.com Frontline Report. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. From deep in the heart of FEMA Region 6, Austin, Texas, transmitting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
We are live here on this Sunday, August 19th, 2012, at the Alex Jones Show in the Alex Jones Studios, I should say the InfoWars Studios here in Austin, Texas. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in for Alex today, and thank you for joining us. We've got a lot of breaking news today, some truly shocking news. This article now just posted on Infowars.com. Freedom of Information Act documents reveal that the Department of Homeland Security monitored Infowars.com, monitored the user posts on the website, and monitored opposition to its so-called See Something, Say Something program, which is really interesting. I mean, if you think about it, they want you to, if you see something that might be a terrorist, then you should say something. But, oh, wait a minute. What if you're a member of the free press and you see the government doing something fishy? Then you're going to be censored. Then you're going to be shut down. Then you're going to be tracked. You're going to be surveilled. That's what's happening. So it's really a selective if you see something, say something. If you see the government doing something, keep your mouth shut. That is the message from DHS. But I'm going to go through this story in some details with you. And by the way, if you're just joining us, we've got a lot of great information coming up today. We're going to be covering the Julian Assange speech and the attempted, an armed raid was threatened against the Ecuadorian embassy by the British government, the UK, threatening to commit acts of war and to literally raid that embassy at gunpoint, which is a total violation of international law, and to kidnap Julian Assange. So we'll be talking about that story. We've also got the big media lie about the U.S. government's purchase of over 1 billion rounds of anti-personnel ammunition. You notice the mainstream media is trying to shut down that story by distracting you with only the 174,000 rounds of ammo that the Social Security Administration has requisitioned, while you're supposed to ignore the 8,000 times larger stockpile of 1.4 billion rounds that the Department of Homeland Security has been acquiring at the same time that it is surveilling alternative news websites such as Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, DrudgeReport.com, and others. Also, another big story today we're going to cover, we published this over at naturalnews.com, is Google Shopping blocking all vitamins and natural products. If you're in the USA only and you search for natural products in Google, when you go to the shopping section of their search engine, all the results are gone. They're in the memory hole now. Ancient history, you can't search there for vitamin C or camu or vitamin D or anything. They're all gone. They've been memory holed. Now, you can find them on the regular web search, but not in the shopping search. And again, this only applies in the USA. So my question is this a glitch or is this deliberate censorship? What is going on over at Google? We'll get into that. Plus, we've got 6 sovereign citizens linked to they're being called an extremist sovereign citizens group. And they're being linked to a deputy killing in New Orleans, or just outside of New Orleans. And get this, the mainstream media describes this, quote, sovereign citizens group as being extremist because they, quote, are impersonating police officers. Oh, you mean like the TSA does? They're using fake currency. Oh, you mean like the fiat currency that we're all using? That's printed by the Federal Reserve? Let's see. They're being accused of conducting so-called, quote, paper terrorism, which involves using frivolous lawsuits and fake documents. Oh, you mean the kind of thing that has been done against James Stewart, the raw milkman from California, who sits right now, today, in the Ventura County Jail, an innocent victim, his only crime, selling fresh milk, and they have no case against him, no real evidence against him whatsoever, but he's sitting there in jail because the Ventura County DA has been ordered to do this by the FDA. So, gee, it's funny because every time they attack these sovereign citizens groups, and I'm not defending every sovereign citizens group, and that's not a label I use to describe myself, but every time I see them attacking these groups, the things that they're blaming them for are the things that the government's doing. I don't get it. How can it be right for the government to do these things, but then it's criminal if a citizen does it? See, that contradiction doesn't make sense to me. And again, the big overall theme here today is that the Department of Homeland Security is surveilling InfoWars, tracking, monitoring user comments, and they have been describing InfoWars as a right-wing terrorist type of organization. It's right here. It's all up at Infowars.com in this article by Paul Joseph Watson. Let's get into that detail in right here, right now on the show. And by the way, if you just joined us, this is the Alex Jones Show. Probably realize you're not hearing Alex Jones's voice. My name's Mike Adams. I'm a frequent fill-in host for Alex, and I appreciate you joining us today. But check this out. Here it is. So a sticker, this came out of the FOIA documents, the Freedom of Information Act documents. A sticker was placed on the mirror inside a restroom at the Mitchell Courthouse in the Baltimore City Circuit Court. The sticker read, quote, 911 was an inside job, 9/11. Learn the truth at Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, JonesReport.com. The courthouse then contacted the DHS because I guess a bumper sticker is an act of terrorism now, and they asked for advice on whether other partners have reported similar activities. So this was documented by DHS. And the internal email from DHS, get this, responded to this request by saying, quote, oh, this is a promotional sticker from Prison Planet and InfoWars saying Alex Jones is a conspiracy theorist from back in the late 90s that gets some airplay, but no one else takes him seriously. Oh, really? Really? Let's see. InfoWars is many times larger than MSNBC. Traffic is skyrocketing. It's like 400% more traffic than MSNBC. It is listened to by millions of people every day, tens of millions of people in a month, maybe 50 million people in a month, hundreds of millions of views of its videos on YouTube, and that's even with the censorship going on. I think more people actually listen to InfoWars than listen to the DHS. That's, because, I don't know, maybe I'm a terrorist because I can do math. I can actually do math in this country, which means I understand debt, which means I understand the derivatives fraud. It also means I understand that this system that we're living under today, this system of fraud cannot continue indefinitely. And if you understand the laws of mathematics, you know that that means anything that cannot continue indefinitely must, by definition, come to an end. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that more with John B. Wells in the next, coming up in about half an hour. But continuing with this article, again, this is a Paul Joseph Watson article on Infowars.com right now. Another document that was acquired from the government through FOIA requests was entitled, quote, right-wing terrorism. And it identified what it calls race hate groups, such as the Oath Keepers organization. Yeah, really, seriously, I'm not making this up. This is not an April Fool's broadcast. Now, Oath Keepers, for those of you who know Oath Keepers or you've heard from Stuart Rhodes, hey, this is an organization that simply says we're going to abide by the oath that we all took to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all threats, both foreign and domestic. And the Oath Keepers group just says, let's stick with our oaths. I guess that's a crime in America today. I guess it's a hate crime to say, let's defend our oath. Let's defend humanitarian freedoms that are outlined in the Bill of Rights. I guess that's hate now if you love freedom. But I guess if you worship the government, then everything's fine. But if you want to protect and defend freedom, then you're a hate group. So it goes on to say, this document, again, acquired from the government through Freedom of Information, it goes on to say that conspiracy theorists believe this Hardin town is the location for the FEMA camp. Oh, and yeah, I guess FEMA camps don't exist either, which is why they memory hold the Jesse Ventura episode of Conspiracy Theory that exposed all the FEMA camps. That's why they erased that off all the networks, erased it off all the TiVo devices. You're not supposed to know about these FEMA camps. Go figure. Do they exist? Of course they do, folks. Of course they do. Anyway, a lot more straight ahead. Stay with us here on The Alex Jones Show. We'll be right back after this break.
If you want an American company with American products made by Americans, here is the Cal Ben Soap Company. Alex and his staff have used these pure soap products for years. These all-natural soaps are made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils that are earth-friendly and safe. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog. Buy the 1 to 2 month sample package and enjoy soaps that are twice as good as what you're using now. Or save big with a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. This is an amazing deal. You can save thousands of dollars and you will love the way real soap makes you feel. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog.
Alex Jones here with a great way to beat the blackouts, get off the grid, and generate your own supply of electrical power. Folks, with what's been going on in this country, I don't have to tell you about the power grid and just how vulnerable it is. That's in the mainstream news every day. Millions of people have lost their power in the last few weeks because of dangerous storms and killer heat that's pushing the grid beyond its capacity. I've always said that every family needs to be ready for blackouts. And if you don't have a backup system in place, I've got a great opportunity for you. Right now, our good friends at Solutions from Science are offering huge savings on their best-selling Power Hub unit. In fact, I think it's the best deal I've ever seen them make. It's literally thousands of dollars in savings. Remember, these backup systems don't need gas because they're solar-powered. That means there's no dangerous fumes and no noise. InfoWars listeners can get all the details at beattheblackouts.com. That's beattheblackouts.com. The worst drought in 50 years continues, and the first 6 months of 2012 marks the hottest half year on record. 78% of the Midwest Corn Belt is in drought conditions. Not only corn, but soy, alfalfa, fruits, vegetables, and wheat are all impacted, raising prices. The cost to feed livestock is forcing farmers and ranchers out of business, blowing up your food prices. The only strategy to counter this is to freeze your food cost at today's prices by getting your own supply of foods from eFoods Direct now. As the price of raw ingredients increases, eFoods will have to raise prices too. Now is the time to get your supply. I recently increased my supply from eFoods Direct because we have all known this was coming. You know about their delicious long-term storable foods. The fact is, you can eat it any time to save money today. And because it stores for 25 years, you're locking in today's prices and avoiding the rising food cost. Don't wait. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct.
If you want an American company with American products made by Americans, here is the Cal Ben Soap Company. Alex and his staff have used these pure soap products for years. These all-natural soaps are made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils that are earth-friendly and safe. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog. Buy the 1 to 2 month sample package and enjoy soaps that are twice as good as what you're using now. Or save big with a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. This is an amazing deal. You can save thousands of dollars and you will love the way real soap makes you feel. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
You know, the more you look at the actions of our federal government today, the more it begins to resemble the Dark Empire in Star Wars, doesn't it? It's like, I want to rewatch all those movies because now I'm really expecting that when they lift that helmet off Darth Vader's head, you know that scene where the helmet comes off and I'm expecting he's going to turn around like The Exorcist and it's going to be Janet Napolitano in there. And like, evil darkness. In fact, we have a clip from Admiral Tarkin, who's speaking about the Rebel Alliance. Go ahead and play that clip because it's relevant today more than ever. You have that ready? Got that? Okay, here we go.
This bickering is pointless. Now, Lord Vader will provide us with the location of the rebel fortress by the time this station is operational. We will then crush the rebellion with one swift stroke.
We will then crush the rebellion with one swift stroke. What a great line. And a movie that's relevant now more than ever before. In fact, I think we should all go back and watch that because it's funny. It's like, it's like the U.S., the DHS in particular. And again, I'm not saying everybody in government is bad, but the DHS in particular and the TSA, it's like they're reading the Star Wars script and they're trying to become the Dark Lord. They're trying to become Darth Vader. It's like they're taking the worst, most evil, most destructive parts of the movie and saying, how can we do that? And then that's what they roll out, except, well, with a little bit of a pedophile, recipe in the mix to make sure they're reaching down the pants of little boys and girls at the airports. They're kind of like a Vader Sandusky kind of character with a little Napolitano thrown in there in the mix. I mean, it's getting pretty gross. So let's change the subject. Coming up, by the way, well, actually, let's go right to Julian Assange because Mr. Assange gave a speech this morning, and we're going to play just a few seconds of that for you here in a second. But look, this is a big deal because, of course, the Ecuadorian embassy and Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa has given Assange a political asylum and has granted him some safe haven right there in the embassy in London. But, of course, the UK government, being a dark empire, has threatened to raid the embassy at gunpoint and kidnap Julian Assange, and they didn't need to say the rest, which probably includes having him killed. So this is the UK today, all right? So while Julian Assange has established the moral high ground of saying, let us have free journalism and free expression. Let us have that humanitarian position of free speech, which is the First Amendment. The UK government says, we will crush the rebellion with one swift stroke by attacking the Ecuadorian embassy. I mean, it's that crazy. That is the tyranny, the terrorism, you might say, of the UK government today, which is a total police state, total runaway 1984 Orwellian, cameras everywhere on every street corner, total police state. And, of course, Paul Joseph Watson covers that on a daily basis. He can give you more details. But check this out. So I want to give you some inside information. But first, how about this? Play us a few seconds of Assange's speech, just the intro there, if you would, so people can hear that.
That we hold dear. Remind them of your vigil in the dark before the embassy of Ecuador. Remind them how, in the morning, the sun came up on a different world and a courageous... All
right, so that was Julian Assange. I'm not going to play the whole speech, but let me give you the highlights of it here. Quote from Assange, the United States must pledge before the world that it will not pursue journalists for shining the light on the secret crimes of the powerful. Good quote. I agree with it. He also says, quote, there must be no more foolish talk about prosecuting any media organization, be it WikiLeaks or be it the New York Times, he says. And what about be it InfoWars, for that matter, because InfoWars is being surveilled by the Department of Homeland Security. So let me give you some inside information on this. And here's where it comes from. Many of you may know I used to live in Ecuador. And I have an Ecuadorian driver's license, and I have a residency visa in Ecuador. And I own property in Ecuador. I don't anymore, but I did before. So, you know, I spoke pretty darn good Spanish at the time and interacted with the locals and interacted with the politicians down there. Got a lot of inside information on Correa. And overall, Correa he's a very smart guy. He was a professor of economics at the University of Illinois here in the States. He's not a typical Latin American leader. He's very well connected, and he has a backup plan. Now, look, Ecuador right now, it runs on the U.S. currency. So the dollar is the currency in Ecuador. But as the U.S. inflates, or I should say devalues the currency, causing price inflation by creating more fiat currency, which gets back to the counterfeit currency keyword that we mentioned earlier, they are, in essence, stealing purchasing power from the people of Ecuador. And in Ecuador right now today, if you go there and you talk to the taxi drivers, they will rant endlessly to you about the increase in prices of cooking gas, of basic staples, of rice, of gasoline, fuel, all these things that they need to live. Why are those prices rising? Because the Ecuadorian economy is based on the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar is being devalued due to the U.S. and Federal Reserve's policies of printing more fiat currency, or digitally creating it, in essence, thereby devaluing the purchasing power of the currency that exists in circulation. So Correa has a backup plan, and he, along with other Latin American leaders, they've been talking about a plan to have their own South American, Latin American currency, okay? So this is the big backup plan. When the U.S. dollar collapses or becomes massively devalued, or new currency floods the marketplace, or China sells off its holdings and so on, whatever crisis happens, Ecuador and the rest of Latin America is ready to switch to their own currency. That's the information that I got when I was living down there, and that was over a year ago that I got that information. Since then, I haven't had any updates, so I can only imagine this is a little further along than it was then. They may already have their backup currency printed. They may be ready to switch over at any time. But the point is, Latin American leaders hate the UK and the USA. They hate the countries. They hate the leadership, I should say. They don't hate the people. The people of all countries normally get along. It's the leaders that hate each other. They hate America for being a bully. It was a bully down in Ecuador. America was launching its drug war, chemical assaults on local farmers using the military base that used to exist in Manta. And Correa kicked the U.S. out of Manta so that the U.S. could not launch its chemical weapons attacks on coca tea growers in Ecuador. This was done under the drug war. So if you live in Ecuador and you're trying to grow your little farm of coca tea, which is perfectly legal, it's just consumed as a tea, it's not cocaine, there's nothing wrong with it. And imagine you see the evil airplane from the U.S. empire come over and spray like an Agent Orange type of chemical all over your village, all over your children, all over your farms, destroying your livelihood, destroying your health. Are you going to be happy about that? No, you're not going to be happy about that. It's an attack from a foreign empire destroying your local farming economy. That's the way Ecuadorians see it. And that's the reality of what's happening down there. No wonder Correa is standing up to the U.S. and the U.K. in giving Assange political asylum. So stay with us. A lot more straight ahead right here.
Sick of the globalists, eugenicists, control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure. And it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.
Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough seeds to plant a full-acre crisis garden. So visit them today at survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com, or give them a call at 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365. Remember, in a real crisis, non-hybrid seeds are the ultimate barter item. This is Alex Jones for survivalseedbank.com.
Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com None Dare Call a Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, You in Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com.
You've heard Alex explain how the Silver Lungs generator infuses the respiratory system with your self-produced colloidal silver solutions, yet many are unaware of the entire function of the Silver Lungs system and how it has been designed to deliver your silver solutions anywhere in or on the body. My name is Mario Cifaldi, and I'm the developer of the Silver Lungs generator. Not only does the Silver Lungs system produce endless colloidal and ionic silver solutions, it also comes equipped with the proper applicators and devices needed to deliver your silver solutions directly to key target areas. This includes the eyes, ears, nose, lungs, topically to the skin, and orally for the digestive system. Be sure to watch our new 7-minute video tour of the Silver Lungs system at www.silverlungs.com to learn more about how the Silver Lungs system works. As well, we are always ready to answer any questions you may have. That's www.silverlungs.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
I was a highwayman along the coach roads.
All right, in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by John B. Wells, the Saturday night host of Coast to Coast AM. This is Mike Adams here, hosting for Alex Jones today. Thanks for joining us. I'm the editor of naturalnews.com, known as the Health Ranger. And I got a little bit of a personal story for you about health transformation. Many of you may not know this, but a decade ago, I was borderline obese. I was borderline type 2 diabetic. I was hypoglycemic. I mean, I was in bad shape. I had chronic pain. I had high cholesterol. I had depression. I had a lot of things wrong, health-wise. I was eating a junk food diet. I was taking medications. I wasn't aware. I wasn't awakened. I wasn't informed like I am now. But I've learned so much since then. In fact, that's sort of how I came onto the scene, was teaching people about nutrition and the transformative power of superfoods and great nutrition and how that can just absolutely transform not just your body, but your mind as well. And, it's funny. I just got to plug this product here, it's called Interfood. It's at the InfoWars store, which is InfoWarsStore.com. And the reason I have to mention this is because I gave this company my Editor's Choice Award years before InfoWars ever even started carrying it. This product is so good. It's so nutrient dense. I wish I had had this available 10 years ago when I was getting healthy. I had to use other things. It was hard kind of to mix it all up myself. But today, you can get this Enerfood. It's ENER food at the InfoWars store. They have all their products there. They're really just quite amazing. You know, you talk about nutrient-dense superfoods. We're talking about seaweeds with the trace minerals, with the iodine. We're talking about the microalgae, the chlorella, the spirulina. And by the way, I mix this, believe it or not, listen carefully, I mix this with chocolate, that is cacao powder, and avocado, yes, a fresh avocado, blended with almond milk. So if you blend, again, Enerfood with cacao and almond milk and an avocado and a little bit of sweetener like palm sugar or stevia or raw honey, you are going to have a delicious shake. It tastes like a chocolate ice cream shake. I kid you not. A lot of people say, what, you're drinking avocados? That sounds weird. Not in Latin America, it doesn't seem weird. Not in Asia, it doesn't seem weird. Only in America, people do not really drink avocados. Believe me, it tastes like ice cream because avocados are fatty and rich. And I'm actually drooling right now. I got to get some of this. But anyway, check that out at InfoWarsStore.com. It's a very good product. And lastly, before we go to John Wells, you know, the deal is I'm a big advocate of what I call patriot nutrition. And by patriot, I mean people who believe in America, you know, people who believe in the founding fathers, people who believe in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and keeping our oaths to protect those rights. So that's America to me. You know, these globalists running the show in Washington, they are not America. That's not real America. I'm all for empowering and protecting real America, and you got to remember the nutritional component, folks. If you have good nutrition, you have better automatic night vision. I mean, literal biological night vision works better when you have good nutrition. You heal faster. You deal with stress better. You're more fertile. I mean, your reproductive organs even work better. Here, there's a better shot of the bottle. Everything works better when you have good nutrition. And if we want to restore this republic and defeat tyranny and restore liberty, you better have nutrition on your side. That is the best and most powerful ally of all. And take it from me, the Health Ranger, this stuff can transform your life. Now, thanks for your attention on that issue of huge importance. I want to introduce John B. Wells now. Many of you are probably already familiar with him. He's just an all-around awesome dude. I got to tell you. He's obviously the Saturday night host of Coast to Coast AM. He is a musician, a writer, a composer. He's into martial arts. He's into liberty. He's been all over, you know, working on Discovery Channel's Deadliest Catch and Gold Rush because of his incredible voice talent that you're going to hear. He's got a website called caravantomidnight.com, caravantomidnight.com, where he offers and discusses some solutions for being exposed to radiation and other threats to your health. And I encourage you to check out that website. And he joins us now for the next roughly hour and 20 minutes to talk about a number of subjects, but especially what we see as the coming collapse. John B. Wells, welcome to the Alex Jones Show.
Wow, you referred to me as the dude. That's quite an honor, Mike. Thank you.
The dude. That's not a reference to Lebowski or that movie, but yeah.
Well, it's true. The dude abides, you know.
Most definitely. Well, John, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I don't know if you heard what we covered earlier, but Department of Homeland Security has been monitoring Infowars.com. What do you think about that?
Hi, Janet. I think you're adorable. I think you're so cute. It doesn't surprise me. You know, Mike, just to start, we don't want to be men who multiplieth the words without wisdom or knowledge. But if the capability is there, eventually it's going to be used. So, frankly, I'm shocked that we haven't learned they've been monitoring InfoWars for as long as it's been on the air, as long as they've been able to monitor it. I'm shocked to find out that we're just finding out.
Well, they probably have been monitoring it for as long as it's been on. We just finally got the FOIA documents. That's the situation.
You know, at every university registration back in the day, I was approached by some people that began speaking to me about for one reason or another, probably just dumb luck, I managed to score pretty high on these national tests, and they would come to talk to me. And they would say odd things. And it didn't take very long to map out a profile of their psychology. So because you just said, well, they probably have been monitoring us. It's true. And now comes the part where they tell us we are monitoring you.
Right. It's out in the open.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I think it's an intimidation technique to just, maybe they just cop to the fact that one person can cause so many problems if they get loose and they have a little bit of, and the field is tilted a little bit in their favor. They can be quite destructive.
Well, John, is that because the truth is now so dangerous that they have to try to intimidate those who share the truth? I mean, you're the Coast to Coast AM Saturday night host. You help a lot of people have a voice to share the truth. You know, here you are on the Alex Jones Show, and you've hosted the show before as well. Is the truth that dangerous in America today?
Well, you can see me on the video, so it's different than if you're hearing me go, well, because it's not that I'm confused or lost or, recovering from an overdose of cough syrup. It's because I have to continually weigh the option of asking or stating something and determine if it should be asked or stated. So that's the long answer. That's the long way to your answer, which is a resounding yes. The truth is potentially dangerous because the other component is who will react to it and how will they react.
Well, maybe that's what they're afraid of, that if people really knew the truth, that, people would, I don't know, take their money out of the banks or buy more ammo as the DHS itself is doing. What do you think, what actions do you think they might be afraid of, John?
Well, ultimately, I think they're afraid of a physical show of something that could be perceived as force, much the way that the Wall Street protesters were eventually, manhandled and booted out. Yeah. It didn't get as ugly as it could have been, but there was the potential for it to be ugly.
Well, maybe that's why they took it over, but I didn't mean to sort of ambush you with this one question. I mean, you brought a lot of issues to the show. What's on your mind as the big things that we need to talk about and know about today?
Well, I hope you didn't think that was some sort of a stall. It's not. No. Last night on Coast, for example, I'll have to take the long way to answer your question there, too. We had called the show The Two Franks. We had Frank Wuko and Frank Vernuccio. And Frank Wuko has a website where he actually portrays a terrorist, talking about how much they hate. They hate. They must destroy because they hate and bring about, it's just the same stuff that you can get on a cartoon version of that would be entitled.
John, I got to interrupt you here. We're about to go to break, but hold that thought, and we'll be right back in a few minutes right here on the Alex Jones Show with John B. Wells. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
The worst drought in 50 years continues, and the first 6 months of 2012 marks the hottest half year on record. 78% of the Midwest Corn Belt is in drought conditions. Not only corn, but soy, alfalfa, fruits, vegetables, and wheat are all impacted, raising prices. The cost to feed livestock is forcing farmers and ranchers out of business, blowing up your food prices. The only strategy to counter this is to freeze your food cost at today's prices by getting your own supply of foods from eFoods Direct now. As the price of raw ingredients increases, eFoods will have to raise prices too. Now is the time to get your supply. I recently increased my supply from eFoods Direct because we have all known this was coming. You know about their delicious long-term storable foods. The fact is you can eat it any time to save money today. And because it stores for 25 years, you're locking in today's prices and avoiding the rising food cost. Don't wait. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct. Sick of the globalists, eugenicists, control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.
Supernatural silver is not an ionic or a colloidal silver. It is a nanocatalytic silver salt technology with superior benefits to the colloidal silvers of yesterday. This new molecular structure is permanently bonded to water. It is the only water-soluble silver that is 99% bioavailable and non-toxic with no known side effects. SilverSol's patented technology has advanced antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties with a 15-year shelf life. It can be used internally as well as topically and is one of the most important items needed in any emergency. Independent testing from universities, hospitals, military, and private labs make this the most proven product in the industry. No silver solution is better or safer. Protect yourself and your loved ones and be prepared. Go to www.supernaturalsilver.com and don't forget to use the promo code AlexSays for 20% off. Go to www.supernaturalsilver.com today.
If you want an American company with American products made by Americans, here is the Cal Ben Soap Company. Alex and his staff have used these pure soap products for years. These all-natural soaps are made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils that are earth-friendly and safe. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog. Buy the 1 to 2 month sample package and enjoy soaps that are twice as good as what you're using now. Or save big with a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. This is an amazing deal. You can save thousands of dollars and you will love the way real soap makes you feel. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the show. Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, here today filling in for Alex Jones. Thank you for joining us. We've got John B. Wells as our featured guest, and we're going to go to him in just a second. But first, got to get this out there. Because of the assault on our Second Amendment rights in this country, I've just released 2 video mini documentaries that you can find on YouTube right now. I put those out late last night. I want to give you the titles because I know that all Alex Jones listeners and viewers will want to see these videos. The first one is called The Divine Right of Self-Defense, and the second one is called Gun Control is Genocide. So check out those 2 videos. Again, The Divine Right of Self-Defense and Gun Control is Genocide. This provides the philosophical argument for why self-defense and the Second Amendment is so crucial for humanitarian reasons, if not other reasons. Check out those 2 videos. And again, thanks for joining us. We're going to go straight to John B. Wells. Now, John is, of course, the host of the Saturday night edition of Coast to Coast AM. He's also got a fantastic voice that we are all envious of here in the InfoWars studios. And his website is caravantomidnight.com, where you can find information on radiation protection devices and solutions. So check out that website. Now, John, we promised, or at least I promised my audience, that we would get into some preparedness information and talk about what we think might be a coming financial crisis You want to get into some of that right now?
Yep, but let's finish up where we left off, if you don't mind.
You bet.
Because I just want, this is a great way to I think maybe answer your question about the danger of the information. Of the two guests, on the two Franks, I call it, like the two Jakes, was the two Franks. Frank Wuko was the one that, without exception, people who bothered to send an email to comment said, this man is a mouthpiece for the establishment. This is Oliver North with his Dennis the Menace haircut, talking about doing his duty and totally towing the line of the status quo. Whereas the second Frank he said, no, we're the American people, we'll overcome, even if it gets rough. I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, even if it gets rough, we'll find a way. We'll find our way through. We will groom leaders. We will go forward. After I suggested maybe that's what we ought to start doing. So when you're in a position like this, we are alternately, I won't even drag you all into it. I'll just say I am alternately a bringer of the truth, a traitor, a Zionist, a Nazi, a liberal left-wing nut, and a radical right-wing nut, depending on which piece of what sentence offended this particular person who decided to send an email. So right. The biggest problem with all of this is that because of our individuality and our innate desire to cling to it, we cannot become this Borg that those who envision an advanced civilization perhaps would like us to become. We will not morph into this Borg that they want without some extreme coercion. So, yeah, I just wanted to make that clear that when I bring somebody on the program, much as you do, you bring me on here and I make a complete ass of myself. That's not really your fault, is it? It's my fault. And I think that you'd be doing your audience a disservice not to let me or anybody else make a big dumpski out of themselves if that's what they wanted to come on your program and do. So just because I allow somebody to state their opinion doesn't mean I embrace it. Sure, yeah. Well,
Let me ask this, though. What is the strangest incident that you've had with a guest on Coast to Coast AM? I'm curious about your experience as the host there.
When I brought on Susan Lindauer, the ex-CIA asset that was, she alleges she was taken to Carswell Air Force Base right out by Fort Worth, Texas, which is now a joint base of some sort. And we'll get into that later. A few black triangles have been spotted as far back as the 70s, headed that base's direction. When she began to talk about how she'd been tipped off and went to pretty much the inner circle, one of her relatives even was inside the White House and said, hey, we got a problem, it's coming, and it looks like an attack on buildings by airliners. She wound up drugged and everything else. And I'm telling you, I experienced, some people would send an email, you get 1,000 compliments and you get one ugly one. And that's the one everybody knows that, right? This guy gave a baccalaureate one time that said, as you go through life, remember the compliments and try to forget the insults. And if you figure out a way to do this, please write me and let me know what it is. It can't be done. But seriously, every time a guest like that comes on Coast to Coast, I begin getting the activity wheel on the Apples and the freezing on the PCs. And it's just, if it was once or twice, it'd be a coincidence. But when it happens every time there's a controversial guest on, then it makes one think maybe somebody's stuffing some tissue in the pipe.
Well, do you think maybe they're interfering with your operations? I mean, because there was a DDoS attack recently, a cyber warfare attack on RT for covering Julian Assange, and that was by what looks to be a CIA front group. Do you think that there are teams that run around the country just basically electronically assaulting all of us who are engaged in questioning the status quo?
Yes. The short answer is yes, they have nothing else to do. And going back to that psychology, the people who would come and interview me, they do things they think about things we don't think about. They're first, when you ask what do you anticipate their biggest fear as far as response from the public is concerned, well, in our minds, it's probably some sort of torches and pitchforks and marching to the palace kind of a scenario. But it might not be that. They might worry more about a run on the banks. They might worry more about a run on arms, or maybe a run out of the country, or currency conversions. That they worry about things that we don't even think about. In fact, actually, as much as I am a little reluctant to say this, it seems to be true. We're at the very bottom, the very end of the data chain. By the time we hear about it, whatever we're talking about is, several miles down the road from where we went, hey, what was that? Oh, no, we're just now getting wise to it. It's underway and has been. So we're always slightly behind.
Yeah, and sometimes, I thank God that I'm not getting secrets leaked to me like Julian Assange. I mean, it's nice to be at the end of the data chain where a lot of times we don't have a super clear picture about what's going on. I think if someone was dumping straight, state secrets to you or to me or to Alex Jones, we'd all be dead by now, for sure.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when somebody sends me a big hard drive, I give it to somebody else who gives it to somebody else who gives it to somebody else to see what's on it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, right.
Just because I picked it up at the P.O. box doesn't mean I'm going to look at it.
No, I have people sending me samples of things to drink. Like, really? You think I'm just going to just drink something that shows up in a box?
Yeah.
Really?
Swig it down. See what happens.
Yeah, right. Okay. It's funny. I mean, people send stuff to the InfoWars offices here for people to try. I'm like, come on, that's a little too simple. But I don't mean to get carried away, John.
Worries.
Was that?
No worries. I do it all the time.
Yeah, well, it's stream of consciousness sometimes. But you mentioned it's interesting because so you're the host of what is, the largest radio show in the country. I don't know if it's the largest overall. What do the ratings say?
It's supposed to. My understanding is it's the highest rated, most listened to late night talk show in the history of the business.
Yeah,
I could be inflating it, but I think that's probably true.
Oh, I think you're right.
Guys like Limbaugh, they're much bigger, but
that's daytime. Yeah,
that's daylight hour. So
anytime. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, anytime you have this huge audience, you're going to get a massive amount of feedback. Have you noticed that the quality of the thought behind the feedback of the public has sharply dropped in the last 5 years?
What are you talking about? The quality of the content of their messaging?
Yeah, or just their thought processes. You can tell that most of them are insane. Even they can't even. There's no logic anymore.
Mike, I would have to dispute that on the basis of personal experience. I find that most of the people that send emails, I mean, there's a you bleep loving bleep pig, it's like really, when I upset a person with a liberal bend, who do I talk to when they send me a message like this? Actually, I find that, there's a certain radical factor there. However, I find that if you just communicate with them and go, wait a minute, do you really think that a message like this is necessary? What's eating you really? And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they'll come back and go, thank you for responding. No one ever does.
Wow. You respond to them.
I absolutely respond.
How do you find the time?
Well, I can't respond to all of them, but I respond. I read as many of them as possible. Because they come in, 1,000, 1,800 of them per show. So that's a lot of reading.
That's incredible, John. Well, good job responding to them. And I'm glad that you're seing some light of awakening in those responses. Maybe I've been reading really Facebook too much. Mike. Well, good. We're about to go to break, John. So,
again?
Yeah. Come on, you know the drill. So
I do.
We'll be back with John B. Wells, everybody. This is Mike Adams on The Alex Jones Show. We've got a lot more straight ahead, more about preparedness and what may be a coming crisis or a collapse of some sort. We'll talk to John about that when we return right here on The Alex Jones Show. Stay with us.
The worst drought in 50 years continues, and the first 6 months of 2012 marks the hottest half year on record. 78% of the Midwest Corn Belt is in drought conditions. Not only corn, but soy, alfalfa, fruits, vegetables, and wheat are all impacted, raising prices. The cost to feed livestock is forcing farmers and ranchers out of business, blowing up your food prices. The only strategy to counter this is to freeze your food cost at today's prices by getting your own supply of foods from eFoods Direct now. As the price of raw ingredients increases, eFoods will have to raise prices too. Now is the time to get your supply. I recently increased my supply from eFoods Direct because we have all known this was coming. You know about their delicious long-term storable foods. The fact is you can eat it any time to save money today. And because it stores for 25 years, you're locking in today's prices and avoiding the rising food cost. Don't wait. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct. Alex Jones here with a great way to beat the blackouts, get off the grid, and generate your own supply of electrical power. Folks, with what's been going on in this country, I don't have to tell you about the power grid and just how vulnerable it is. That's in the mainstream news every day. Millions of people have lost their power in the last few weeks because of dangerous storms and killer heat that's pushing the grid beyond its capacity. I've always said that every family needs to be ready for blackouts. And if you don't have a backup system in place, I've got a great opportunity for you. Right now, our good friends at Solutions from Science are offering huge savings on their best-selling Power Hub unit. In fact, I think it's the best deal I've ever seen them make. It's literally thousands of dollars in savings. Remember, these backup systems don't need gas because they're solar-powered. That means there's no dangerous fumes and no noise. InfoWars listeners can get all the details at beattheblackouts.com. That's beattheblackouts.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
We are into the second hour here on August 19th, this Sunday, here on the Alex Jones Show. Thank you for joining us. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in for Alex today, and we are joined by our featured guest, John B. Wells. His website is also jbwells.com. I encourage you to check that out, as well as caravan2midnight.com. And we've been discussing a number of interesting topics. Let's get into the preparedness issue, if you're up for that, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. So let me lead that off by saying, well, you know, Max Kaiser predicted here on the Alex Jones Show last week that there's going to be a financial crisis, a big one, like a global derivatives meltdown of some sort by April of 2013. Now, I know you and I are both reluctant to put our necks on the line with a specific date, but what do you think are the possibilities of what might happen in the next couple of years?
In the next couple of years, that's a little bit of a stretch. Next couple of months, I might take a poke at it. Next couple of years, I just have no idea. I wish I did.
Well, you go for it.
And you know, nobody likes to make a prediction and have it not, make them look like an idiot. But yeah, you predicted and nothing happened. I predict nothing will happen on December 21st, 2012, except a lot of drinking. Okay,
there you go.
But now, as far as this economic collapse, I'm trying to think outside the box that we have been put in mostly through mainstream media. An example of which might be an ad, and thanks very much for mentioning caravan2midnight.com. Going to the Fukushima thing is like the real tragedy of Fukushima, according to a article I just saw today from the Wall Street Journal. That's mainstream media, if I ever heard it or read it. Well, the biggest tragedy is that everybody's so worried about it.
We're going to cause it by thinking about it.
Yeah, that might cause some real ripples in the nuclear power industry, you think? And maybe that's why that's the only article I've seen that they get more radiation in Denver than Fukushima. It's like, and we attribute the fact they have the lowest cancer rate in the country to lifestyle as opposed to radiation levels. Oh, really? Well, the thing about it is the experts are baffled, and when the experts are baffled, that means they're not experts. So, as far as the preparedness is concerned and what to expect over the next couple of years, this whole thing that we've been brought into, since debt and interest and all of these huge loans that are written really don't constitute actual physical cash, only technically.
Right.
They're actually created with the stroke of a pen. Then I wonder, now we're at almost $17 trillion in debt. That's a 17 with 12 zeros to the right of it. There's not enough money on earth to pay that down. I wonder how much of that is actually principal and how much of it is interest that's been rolled over and rolled over and rolled over. So now the big buzzword is, just like SARS, swine flu, mad cow disease, blah, 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 blah. They just sprayed over half of Texas with insecticide.
That's right, West Nile.
Normal over West Nile mosquito. So what is the calamity du jour? Well, right now, the war of the the war we have going on is another 9-year, 10-year affair in the Middle East, and the big problem that threatens us all is not an ongoing war that involves our volunteer army in an undeclared conflict, which makes them mercenaries, whether they like it or not. I don't like it. I don't want them used that way. But now we have the threat of economic collapse. Simultaneously, as a matter of fact, it was on Alex Jones's InfoWars site, which I visit every day, that the FBI is saying, turn in your bin Ladens. Cash is the currency of terrorists and drug dealers. I'm beginning to wonder if this whole economic crisis is nothing but a bloody fabrication.
Really?
Yes.
But how would they use that fabrication then is got to be the operative question, and we got to go to break again.
I'll tell you how, my brother.
Hold that thought then, John, when we come back.
Again?
We have another quick break. This is a very short one, 1 minute. We'll be right back to answer that question with John B. Wells, who's kind enough to stick with us. And thanks for joining us. We'll be right back after this break right here on The Alex Jones Show.
Hi folks, this is Alex Jones, and I want to tell you about the Silver Lungs generator. Now you can produce pure and endless colloidal silver and deliver the solution directly into the bloodstream by breathing the solution through the lungs. The respiratory system is the first line of defense for airborne pathogens and viruses. The Silver Lungs generator infuses the respiratory system with your self-produced nano-silver solutions and also delivers the silver nanoparticles instantly into the bloodstream. With continued legislation threatening the sale of nano-silver products, you can now produce pure and endless colloidal silver with the Silver Lungs generator. Very easy to follow step-by-step instructions are provided, making production fast and simple. Go to www.silverlungs.com today and learn more about the breakthrough technology of the Silver Lungs generator. That's www.silverlungs.com.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center and the heart of the resistance. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
We're continuing right here on The Alex Jones Show with our guest, John B. Wells, the Saturday night host of Coast to Coast AM, who was just theorizing that, hey, perhaps some of this or all of this financial crisis talk is actually a trick to be used against us in some way that he's about to describe right before we went to break. So John, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
There was this movie once upon a time called 3 Days of the Condor, and Robert Redford couldn't figure out why the guy with the MAC-10 and the suppressor on it, the mailman, was after him. I hate to ruin the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's from the Stone Age, but in the end, it was because he read books and he had discovered a storyline in there that absolutely positively correlated identically to something that was actually happening. So I wouldn't want to be that guy. I don't want to see the mailman unless he's got a nice check for me, which I find myself in continuous need of. But in any case, I think it's all in furtherance of a different kind of monetary system. I think it's in furtherance of an electronic system. A quick example would be someone that I know well and have for many years is in the retail business. And now the parent company wants to pay every 2 weeks instead of every week, but what they really want them to do is take it on this card and use this debit card for all of their expenses. Now imagine all of the people at the top who really have these actual assets. They have gold, they have actual cash. They position themselves however those at the top deem would be the most appropriate way to protect that wealth, and then flip over to an electronic system. I mean, there's more and more electronic funds transfers happening all the time under the guise of going green. Okay, I can understand saving postage and paper, but imagine if it's so easy to steal now, how much easier would it be to steal if all of the money was just a 1 or a 0 going down an internet pipeline somewhere from one computer terminal to the next? What this means is that you protest, your money is gone. You don't pay a ticket, your money is gone. You've got a $5,000 tax bill, but you've got 15 grand in the bank. That whole 15 grand's gone because you may have done something else.
Right.
It is an ongoing, rolling attempt at total control and total oppression, and that's just how I see it. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. And an old relative of mine, a writer named H.G. Wells, I'm paraphrasing, said, a lot of people are going to be upset over this new world order, and many will die protesting it.
Wow. Well, I think you're right on the money with the money issue, and they're already starting to describe cash as sort of a tool for terrorism. You know, people who have cash must be bad people.
Oh, if you even buy your coffee at the same place and you're observed doing this and you do it all the time with cash, this could make you suspect.
Oh, yeah, that was the FBI announcement. A few months ago, they put out these warnings to cafes and internet cafes, different kind of retail establishments, to say, oh, if people show up and pay with cash, or if they have a tattoo, or if they look like this or act like that, they might be a terrorist. And these are just normal everyday activities.
You know, I can't really, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you on your program, because it allows me to rant a little bit more than I would do on Coast, because that's a slightly different deal. We get into these heavy subjects, but, you know, we also cover, garden fairies and Bigfoot and flying saucers and paranormal and, electronic voice recordings and all that stuff. I'm sick of it. Ever since I have been literally a child, it's either been hiding under a desk during a drill, like that's going to help you in the case of an atomic bomb being dropped on you, to the Vietnam thing that went on interminably. I mean, I was a kid in elementary school when the Vietnam War started, and I was of voting age when it was over. And so we have a little bit of a lull, and then the Russians go into Afghanistan for 9 years. In the meantime, we're sort of killing Russians by supplying the Mujahideen. And our CIA trained bin Laden, and now they leave, and there's some upheaval here and there. Now we're there for 9-10 years. I'm sick of it. I really don't know personally what to do to stop it, but at least I can complain about it. It's like General Patton said, if you run out of bullets in your rifle, use your pistol. If you run out of pistol, throw your helmet at it, throw your gun at it. And if you can't, urinate at it as it goes by. Do something, throw something at it. So all I can do right now, I can't start a political action committee. I don't have the kind of money to throw around to start some sort of a movement. But at least I can come on the public airwaves and complain about it and try and raise some awakening. I asked a young woman the other day, about 30 years old, I said, but does your generation want freedom?
Oh, good question. Well, what did she say?
She said, well, yes, but I don't want to start a war.
So what they want freedom handed to them? What is that?
I don't know what it means, but my response to her was, I do. Because what has happened is, let me wax theological just for a moment. My favorite Southern Baptist preacher, I'm not really Southern or Baptist, but anyway, I like him. I had a sermon. I just happened to catch it at a friend's house, walking through, and it's on. And he was saying, you pray and you pray and you pray and you pray. And you're in dire straits. It's terrible. And then you pray, oh, God, please help me. Your prayer is answered. Your problem is gone, and you don't really need God anymore, because the problem is gone. Thank you, God. And then just forget about him. That's the end of your piety. That's the end of your devotion. You just go back to business as usual. That's what we've done in this country. We had a long propaganda campaign of, the red, white, and blue, and mom and apple pie and the girl next door, and we're going to defend our homes and defend our way of life and all of that. There were lots of little cartoons even about the evils of socialism creeping in. Guy looks like Snyder Whiplash, and he shows up and he's trying to get the American people, one person here, one person there, to kind of go along with his way of thinking. And in the end, they sent him packing, because socialism was not for the American way of life. It was just not going to work. Well, now people have been comfortable for so long that they're like, well, maybe we should try it.
Yeah.
I mean, we came here to get away from Europe, and now the first person said was Bill Clinton with in Germany, they do such and such. It's like, in Germany? Wait a minute, I thought the whole world was supposed to be like us.
No, we've forgotten the real threats to us. I read recently in the California Constitution, I was doing some research on the raw milk issue, and I noticed in the section that requires law officers or peace officers to have an oath of office, underneath that section, there's a paragraph that says but they also have to affirm that they're not part of the Communist Party because there are efforts by communists to infiltrate and take over the government of California. That's in the California Constitution. And I read that in shock because what has happened in California? The communists have essentially taken over the government, or at least people who have that kind of mindset of community property and no rights. You can't even sell fresh milk in California anymore. That's a communist kind of idea. Astonishing.
Every band of armed, murderous rebels has tagged themselves freedom fighters.
Sure.
We've heard freedom, liberty, vigilance, justice. We've heard it so many times. I mean, it's been cartoonized through Truth, Justice, and the American Way, with even as far back as the old Superman series. I think our eardrums have become numb to these words. I don't think we even know what they are anymore.
Well, no, I think we know. I mean, freedom is having your genitals grabbed by the TSA. That's the new America. Wouldn't you agree?
People allow it.
It's the red, white, and Sandusky freedom is the new airport motto. See?
It's almost like looking off of a balcony. You look down at the traffic where I am, and you see almost all the cars are one of three colors, either a silver or silver variant, black or white. Every once in a while, you'll see a red one. Every once in a while, you'll see a blue one. Every once in a while, you'll see a green one. But the vast majority are silver, black, and white. So every once in a while, you get a red car to go through an airport and say, "Get your hands off me. What's the matter with you?" And, oh, boy, they make a big deal out of it because, oh, well, you're challenging our authority. The first thing that got my attention was several decades ago when it began to be called law enforcement.
Right. Instead of
never
peace
heard
officers.
Law and order ever again, or peace. You just said it, or peace officer ever again. It's like law enforcement. It's like, and then you see parking enforcement. Well, does that mean you're going to force us to park? And in my day, that meant you were going to kiss your babe. They're going to force you to pull over and be amorous, or you be ticketed. I mean, it's just stupid.
As you know, John, half this battle is a linguistic battle. They play word games with us to tell us what these words mean and try to confuse us with words like, oh, you're an extremist group now if you believe in freedom. That's extremism. Anyway, stay with us. We got to go to break again. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure, but if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.
Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough seeds to plant a full-acre crisis garden. So visit them today at survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com, or give them a call at 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365. Remember, in a real crisis, non-hybrid seeds are the ultimate barter item. This is Alex Jones for survivalseedbank.com.
The worst drought in 50 years continues, and the first 6 months of 2012 marks the hottest half year on record. 78% of the Midwest Corn Belt is in drought conditions. Not only corn, but soy, alfalfa, fruits, vegetables, and wheat are all impacted, raising prices. The cost to feed livestock is forcing farmers and ranchers out of business, blowing up your food prices. The only strategy to counter this is to freeze your food cost at today's prices by getting your own supply of foods from eFoods Direct now. As the price of raw ingredients increases, eFoods will have to raise prices too. Now is the time to get your supply. I recently increased my supply from eFoods Direct because we have all known this was coming. You know about their delicious long-term storable foods. The fact is, you can eat it any time to save money today. And because it stores for 25 years, you're locking in today's prices and avoiding the rising food cost. Don't wait. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct.
Supernatural silver is not an ionic or a colloidal silver. It is a nanocatalytic silver sol technology with superior benefits to the colloidal silvers of yesterday. This new molecular structure is permanently bonded to water. It is the only water-soluble silver that is 99% bioavailable and non-toxic with no known side effects. SilverSol's patented technology has advanced antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties with a 15-year shelf life. It can be used internally as well as topically and is one of the most important items needed in any emergency. Independent testing from universities, hospitals, military, and private labs make this the most proven product in the industry. No silver solution is better or safer. Protect yourself and your loved ones and be prepared. Go to www.supernaturalsilver.com and don't forget to use the promo code AlexSays for 20% off. Go to www.supernaturalsilver.com today.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Look at the shoes you're filling. Look at the blood we're spilling. Look at the world we're killing.
All right, we got a pretty good sized segment right here with our guest, John B. Wells. Thank you for joining me today. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in for Alex Jones. Yes, you're listening to the Alex Jones Show, and we're talking with John B. Wells, who, of course, is the Saturday night host of Coast to Coast AM. His website, caravan2midnight.com, is worth checking out. And we're talking about preparedness. We're talking about government control of information. And, you know, a question... Well, oh, wait. Let's take some calls. How about that? John, you up for some calls?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let me give out the number. The Sunday call-in number is 877-789-2539. 877-789-ALEX. So call in there. We'll get you in the queue, and you can be on the air with John B. Wells. Have a question for John B. Wells. Please don't have just some random comment that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, please. And John's got a wealth of knowledge, so you can hit him with almost any topic, right? I mean, you cover all kinds of things, John. A lot. The depth of the topics you cover is much more than what we would typically cover here. You mentioned some of that earlier. What are your favorite areas?
Oh, everything that we cover on Coast and everything that you cover on InfoWars. Seriously, it's we're having a waterfall of information now. There are a lot of contributors there, and this is known. So, of course, there's a good shot of disinformation in there also. But the thing that I suppose I'm interested in the most is the direction of civilization. I don't know about you, but I have family members that I expect to outlive me, and I really don't. I don't want them to ever think of me as someone who did nothing to prevent what they may have to live with later.
Sure.
And we've just lived too large and gotten too fat, figuratively speaking, and literally. I mean, type 2 diabetes is off the chart because we just won't stop harming ourselves. You know, Mike, sometimes I wonder if there isn't some sort of a lemmings rushing to the sea syndrome that has taken over the minds of at least a measurable segment of the population, because it's almost as though people have decided that the whole thing is too big, it's too messed up, it's too corrupt, the whole thing should just fall down. I don't know what they think is going to follow that, but I think it's mostly anger over a feeling of helplessness and not having the power to affect any change at all. And they're continuously messed with by one thing or another. I mean, in this country, you buy your home. Or you think you've paid it off? Well, now you get to pay your property tax, or your home will be taken away.
You don't have real ownership, yeah.
I mean, where are the hours of real living that we thought that we were going to be entitled to through technology and an advanced civilization? We just run from one little fire to the next and knock it down to where it won't burn up too much stuff, and then run over the next little fire and put that out, and then, oh, we have to go back to that one. And really, they keep us walking on I say they, that's the government and the media that supports them. And in my opinion, the mainstream media is nothing but a propaganda wing. Never has been anything else since certainly the mid-'70s.
Well, sure.
And, and I mean, just because somebody is a good musician or a bad musician that makes a lot of money and sells a lot of records, or you're a movie star or something, actors, it's like Orson Welles said, actors aren't really anything, are they? They don't. They're actors. They portray characters. So an audience falls in love with that character, assigns those attributes to the actual actor, and then follows them in their political ideology. This makes no sense to me.
No, but it's all irrational. And you mentioned something earlier that I want to get into in more detail with you, that maybe there's this subconscious desire across the population for self-destruction, to just end it all.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm convinced that if Obama right now announced that, to save the planet and reduce CO2 emissions, that let's say 50% of the population needs to line up in front of the incinerators and just sacrifice themselves for the good of the planet, I'm pretty sure that you'd find about 50% of the people that would gladly do that, as long as Obama asked them to do it.
Oh, I assure you someone will show up. It won't be me or you, but someone will.
No, it won't be us. We'll be watching from a distance, videotaping it and putting it on YouTube. But people will show up and fry themselves as long as they're told it's for the better good. I don't get that.
Well, it's just like, remember Doe out there in San Diego? He was going to catch up to the UFO flying in the tail of the Hale-Bopp comet, and took all those people with him. They all drank the Kool-Aid and died right there in that house.
Applewhite was his name, or
something like
Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate cult, yeah.
Yeah, and his name was Doe. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and that's right. They poisoned themselves, yeah.
Yeah, those people killed themselves. People want a leader. This is known. If a leader is charismatic, if he has something to offer them, they'll follow him. They followed Napoleon. They followed Adolf Hitler. They followed Joe Stalin for a while.
So how do we teach people or awaken them to the basic principles of controlling your own destiny, having that free will, having that level of consciousness, to know that you're worth living? I mean, that's what you and I, we talked about this on your show last week. How do we really get that across to people, man?
I'm inclined to say disconnect from the machine. Disconnect from the machine and stop participating in that which you are loath to participate in, but you do anyway. Let's go to this Chick-fil-A thing just for a second. Regardless of what side anybody's on, I don't care about that as far as the conversation at present is concerned. What I took from that whole thing was that you spend your money. I mean, this protest over a statement that a guy made, and should be entitled to make it, result in this big protest. Well, then there was a counter protest, which resulted in, I suppose this company made its whole year in one day or two. And that's a family-owned business. It's not publicly traded stock. It's a multi-billion-dollar family-owned Christian business. If somebody has a problem with that, I mean, it was so pathetic. Somebody says, "My sandwich tastes like hate." It's like, I got some news for you. Nobody cares if you're gay. Nobody cares if you're straight. Nobody really cares what you do with your genitals, unless you're like Anthony Weiner and you want to put him up there on Facebook or something, or whatever he did, the moron. That guy is a moron. He's a public official, and he behaves like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's just stupid. So the point is, put your money with the people you want to support and who support what you support. Do not spend your money with people who represent values that you don't hold as values.
Well, clearly, and I thought the whole message of the LGBT community is tolerance. I thought it was a message of tolerance, and then they couldn't tolerate Chick-fil-A. So all of a sudden, it's flipped around that now the Christian has to call for tolerance. You know what I mean? Like the white conservative Christian family has to call for tolerance. It's a bizarre world.
Well, it's another example of the squeaking wheel gets the grease, and the one that squeaks the loudest gets the most grease. And that's why these pro-socialists and anarchists and everything else, look, anarchy is going to get us nowhere. I mean, that's a recipe for a bigger disaster than the one that caused the anarchy to begin with. That's just stupid. Evolved people do not engage in anarchy. It's moronic. It's savage, and we have enough of that. You and I think. Of course, you can answer this. I think we both believe in a local, community-based peace officers who are of the people, by the people, for the people. We believe in laws. We believe in not harming your neighbors and expecting your neighbors not to harm you. We don't want anarchy. We want people to behave like adults. We want law and order is what we want. That's right. And we want to go to a break here, too. One more break. And when we come back, we'll have callers on the line. Sherry, Fred, Karen, and much more with John B. Wells. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com None Dare Call a Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com. Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here with a great way to beat the blackouts, get off the grid, and generate your own supply of electrical power. Folks, with what's been going on in this country, I don't have to tell you about the power grid and just how vulnerable it is. That's in the mainstream news every day. Millions of people have lost their power in the last few weeks because of dangerous storms and killer heat that's pushing the grid beyond its capacity. I've always said that every family needs to be ready for blackouts. And if you don't have a backup system in place, I've got a great opportunity for you. Right now, our good friends at Solutions from Science are offering huge savings on their best-selling Power Hub unit. In fact, I think it's the best deal I've ever seen them make. It's literally thousands of dollars in savings. Remember, these backup systems don't need gas because they're solar-powered. That means there's no dangerous fumes and no noise. InfoWars listeners can get all the details at BeatTheBlackouts.com. That's BeatTheBlackouts.com.
If you want an American company with American products made by Americans, here is the Cal Ben Soap Company. Alex and his staff have used these pure soap products for years. These all-natural soaps are made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils that are earth-friendly and safe. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog. Buy the 1 to 2 month sample package and enjoy soaps that are twice as good as what you're using now. Or save big with a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. This is an amazing deal. You can save thousands of dollars and you will love the way real soap makes you feel. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
All right, we're going to go straight to calls in this segment with John B. Wells, our guest here on the Alex Jones Show. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in for Alex today. Thank you for continuing with us here. We're going to go straight to calls, hopefully calls about preparedness. I guess we will find out. Are you ready, John?
Absolutely, positively.
All right. If anybody can handle calls, you can. So let's go straight to it. Sherry from Missouri, you are live on the air. Welcome to the show. Do you have a question for John?
Well, what I'm curious about is that a lot of us have been awakened to the truth of what our government is doing to us, but what we're looking for now are solutions, and I would say that has to come from the Constitution. And how do we hold these servant government, I even hate to use the word officials,
right,
their feet to the fire? What do we do when they are outright just annihilating our Constitution?
All right, good question, Sherry. Let me hand that over to John with also the note that according to the FOIA documents we covered earlier in the show, the Oath Keepers is considered a, quote, hate group by the Department of Homeland Security. What do you think about that, John?
It's ludicrous, just like most of the rest of the Department of Homeland Security. Thanks for the call, Sherry. To answer your question, you must improvise, modify, adapt, and overcome. You see the nature of the beast you are fighting. So what do? Well, in the Stone Age, you use stones. In the modern age, you use the courts, just like over this NDAA thing. I believe it was 6 people, possibly more, got together and just decided to sue on the basis that this NDAA, this National Defense Authorization Act, is unconstitutional. And a judge said, you know what? You're right. Then what you do is you reach out to your friends. You tell your friends about Infowars.com. You tell your friends about Coast to Coast AM. You tell your friends about CaravanOfMidnight.com, because we have articles on there that, they're not going to post on other homepages other than Infowars. Some of them come from Infowars. Then what you do is when your mainstream media fails to report these things, such as 2 witnesses saw 3 or 4 guys at the Sikh temple doing the shooting, not one guy who conveniently shot himself and disappeared, you tell them, if you don't knock this off, we're going to contact your advertisers, and we're going to tell them that we're going to start a massive movement. We won't be buying products that are advertised on your particular network if you don't stop this. If you want to get somebody's attention, hit them where it hurts. Hit them in their wallet. And trust me, you will get their attention.
Yeah.
Tell your friends. Involve everybody who will listen. Ask questions. Do not make statements. Be persuasive. And bring them into the fold.
You nailed it. I mean, it's get organized and start asking questions, and don't put up with the status quo answers.
File a suit.
Yeah.
It's done every day. File a suit. File a bunch of suits. Let that get into the press. Let that go viral on the net. Get it on. Take them on. Look, we're all toast anyway. Every one of us is going to pass away from this life. Now, do you want to stand for something while you're here, or do you just want to sit there and take it?
Well said. Well said, John. Let's go to the next caller, Watchman from Florida. You're on the air with John B. Wells. Go ahead, Watchman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for taking my call. I wanted to make a statement here that basically being prepared for what's coming and the insanity that we see taking place within our own government, I think it's very wise to prepare. That is key. However, I think people must look past that, because I, as a Christian, I believe the Word of God, and it tells us that these things are coming. Now, no matter how much one prepares in the physical, that's not going to stop. I mean, it's great to protest against things that we know are not constitutional. But in the end, we all need to make sure that our souls are prepared, because as Jesus stated, what shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? So if you've got
All right,
a lot of food stored up and ammunition and all that. If you lose your soul in the end, none of that stuff is really going to even matter.
Yeah, good point, Watchman. Go ahead, John. Your comments.
Watchman, you do have an extraordinary point. Yeah, you really do. And gee, you know, it's really kind of a unfashionable thing to be Christian and to profess it these days. Mostly because the ones who are not Christians don't understand that it is known that we are going to make mistakes and sin and lust and do things and do things we didn't even mean to. I believe what you're talking about is spiritual defense, and believe me, that is a large component. A motorcycle crash. Now, people do this all the time, so this is my little personal experience. Of course, I have my unique perception of the events, but there were also witnesses to it. When I crash this bike, and the last thing I see on the speedometer is 67 miles per hour, and I go instantly to the pavement, tumbling in morning traffic that's moving very quickly, very congested. I know that there's traffic around me. None of this stuff hits me. And then the witness to this says, control settled over the whole situation. No slamming of brakes, no horns, nothing. It was just everything came to a calm halt. Well, I know what name I cried out for, but it was a call. It wasn't like, yeah, I'm checking out, help me, help me. It was just like, hey, I've got a problem here. And I was answered. So you will find many metaphysical and paranormal things, people don't know those expressions, within the pages of the scripture. And they can be scientifically shown to have effect. And what they call that thing that was out years ago, The Secret, all about manifesting things like that. They're not going to tell you that that's scriptural, but it is, because they don't want to be aligned with those nasty Christians now, do they? Well,
just the very idea of prayer, which I know to have been medically shown to actually accelerate healing of those who are kept in mind in the prayer. You know, prayer obviously is a non-physical, outside the realm of known physics, but it works. So that is, by definition, metaphysical. I mean, by definition.
A friend of mine was hit by an illegal alien who fled back across the border, leaving him in the street with his skull broken in 13 places. He went into a coma. And yes, I don't care about the temple underwear. I don't care about the polygamy. I don't care. I'm just saying, a group of Mormons came into his hospital room voluntarily and held hands and prayed for him. And there are witnesses that saw the indicators for his vital signs go up in the direction they wanted him to go up, and nobody touched him. All they did was pray for him. So, look, I don't remember where I was before I got here, except in little glimpses in dreams. Now, we can either decide, well, you know, we're just here, it's no big deal, or we can recognize that there are way too many extras, from the strawberry to the bluebird, that would not be necessary if we were just completely ununique little blobs of some sort of living material. There's too much going on here to deny an intelligent design. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it until shown otherwise. And well, John, no one has shown me yet.
I agree with you, but I've covered the physics community. Conventional physics believes that we are biological robots without any free will, no consciousness. When you die, it's lights out. They say that there's no, in fact, they don't even think they're alive, which is weird, because then they write books about it and they put their name on it. It's like, who wrote the book if you're not even a being with a soul? You know,
I would have to say, if their view is that narrow, perhaps they're right. Perhaps they aren't alive.
Maybe they're the zombies. It's physics by zombies. Zombie physics.
Feelings are hard to describe in words. Thoughts must be described in words if they're to be communicated to another person. So if you limit your thoughts, or if you limit your vocabulary, you limit your thoughts, and if you limit your thoughts, you also limit your vocabulary, because you have none to express. There are all sorts of wild theories, but the short answer to that one is, well, once upon a time, everybody thought that the Earth was the center of this galaxy and that it was completely flat.
Yeah. Well, and another, here's another thought on this, is that sometimes the status quo will call you or I a pessimist because we're a realist, because we ask questions and we look at things and we see where are they going. We can project a little bit into the future and sort of see maybe what's going to happen. But isn't it the ultimate pessimism to believe that we're not even living beings with a soul? We don't have a free will, we don't have a mind, we don't have a consciousness, we don't have connection with the Creator. Isn't that the ultimate pessimism?
Oh, absolutely. It's the ultimate pessimism. Yeah, somebody made a joke the other day that said an optimist is someone who is frequently disappointed, but a pessimist is one who is occasionally pleasantly surprised. And we laugh about this, and we say, yeah. But in the laughing and in the making a joke out of it,
going
we
to break,
sort of
John.
embrace it a little. We're going to break, okay.
All right, sorry to interrupt you. Going to break. We'll be right back with more calls for John B. Wells. Stay with us here on The Alex Jones Show.
The worst drought in 50 years continues, and the first 6 months of 2012 marks the hottest half year on record. 78% of the Midwest Corn Belt is in drought conditions. Not only corn, but soy, alfalfa, fruits, vegetables, and wheat are all impacted, raising prices. The cost to feed livestock is forcing farmers and ranchers out of business, blowing up your food prices. The only strategy to counter this is to freeze your food cost at today's prices by getting your own supply of foods from eFoods Direct now. As the price of raw ingredients increases, eFoods will have to raise prices too. Now is the time to get your supply. I recently increased my supply from eFoods Direct because we have all known this was coming. You know about their delicious long-term storable foods. The fact is, you can eat it any time to save money today. And because it stores for 25 years, you're locking in today's prices and avoiding the rising food cost. Don't wait. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct. Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com.
If you want an American company with American products made by Americans, here is the Cal Ben Soap Company. Alex and his staff have used these pure soap products for years. These all-natural soaps are made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils that are earth-friendly and safe. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog. Buy the 1 to 2 month sample package and enjoy soaps that are twice as good as what you're using now. Or save big with a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. This is an amazing deal. You can save thousands of dollars and you will love the way real soap makes you feel. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
We're back for our final segment here on the Alex Jones Show with John B. Wells, our special guest. And we've been taking some calls and talking about, well, some philosophy, believe it or not, in the last segment, a little bit of preparedness info and much more. Let's take one more call today. And let's go to Fred in Michigan. Fred, you're on the air here on the Alex Jones Show. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, it's an honor and a pleasure to be with you two today. My two favorite hosts of all time.
Mutual, sir.
Hey, John, I have many things to get out as quickly as I can. You mentioned a distant relative, I believe H.G. I think he might have authored a book entitled Open Conspiracy. When I'm finished with my presentation, maybe you can comment on that. I want to recite what John Adams, the second president, said, directed to us. You have rights, natural, unalienable rights, antecedent to all earthly governments. Rights, natural, unalienable, that cannot be repealed nor restrained by human law. Rights derived from the great I am. Now, as I see it, my friends, what has surreptitiously happened over the decades is the government has been infiltrated and subverted, subjugated by a rather infamous, insidious foreign private corporation known as the Bar. Because if you take note, every president, virtually every senator, and if the House of Reps isn't predominantly BAR Esquire attorneys whose allegiance is to the Bank of England and the monarchy ultimately, then you have a Legislative Service Bureau that is exclusively BAR Esquire attorneys, and it is that entity that creates the statutory public policy acts.
Well, good points, Fred. Let me send this to John here to comment on what you think are the power groups that are in play today. Is the Bar one of them in your experience?
Absolutely, the Bar. Absolutely, it is. But I'm not sure what the overall question is here.
Well, I just wanted to give you a chance to comment on it, but Fred, that's a really good point that you've brought up, and I appreciate your call. But we've been subjugated, I think, is his point, and it's
yes, we have, and one time I got into it with a guy on the air on it was Alan Colmes' show, and I decided to just call in as a caller. And it was the guy who wanted to take under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, and I just said, look, your hypocrisy and equality statements about the hypocrisy. You're using the law. All law comes from religion. I don't care if you're a tree worshiper on the high plains or in ancient Germany or a sun worshiper on the high plains. Your law comes from religion, and you're using this mechanism to take out the religion. You're using the religious-based mechanism to take the religion out of the mechanism. And the second thing is the equality. If you make everybody just like everybody else, that's exactly the same thing as making everybody nobody, to where there is no more individuality. And the Bar has everything to do with that because, well, I think we already talked about law enforcement, didn't we?
Yes.
So I suppose whatever the law of the land happens to be, you'll be bound to it, or you have to change it. First, you'll resist it and people will be hurt for it. And then eventually it'll be changed. And the moment that you relax your vigilance, it'll go right back to the way that it was where your protest began.
Well, hence the need for the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and what should be called the unalienable rights that are granted to us by our Creator and from which the Bill of Rights was written as an expression that tried to codify those laws.
And thank you very much for pronouncing that word correctly. Everybody says unalienable. It's not, well, we're going to be alienated from our rights. Like, no, it's unalienable. They can't be transferred. They cannot be possessed or taken away.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mike. You're the only one other than myself and one other person that's ever said that word that way.
Really? That strikes me as kind of scary.
Off to you. No, they don't do it. They think it's unalienable, and it's not.
No, it's unalienable. Which, yeah, again, we back to the language games and the mind tricks. We have to get the language squared away. Like, for example, every time a U.S. military helicopter is shot down in the Middle East by enemy soldiers, they never say it gets shot down. They say it crashed, as if it were a training exercise or something. Well, yeah, it crashed after it got blown up. I mean, when you blow up a helicopter, it tends to crash. This is basic physics.
every time, and they're not pretty either. They don't land gracefully and gently without power. They just kind of flop like a mattress off the 10th floor. It's kind of rough, really.
I guess so. Now, John, since this is our last segment, and I want to get to a little bit of your preparedness. I don't know if you're willing to share this publicly, but I want to ask you, what are you doing to get prepared for whatever you see might be coming? I mean, do you have extra food? Do you have extra ammo, if you're willing to say that on the air and risk being called an extremist? I mean, what are you doing today, man?
Well, here's the thing. If it gets down to guns and knives against the authorities, it's going to be rough. You shoot a bullet at them, they're going to shoot a missile at you. We don't want
right.
that. Number one, we don't want that. And we do not want to do anything to engender any further mistrust of the people by the police. Sometimes it's justifiable. And we want to minimize this distrust between citizens and police. Remember, the police are not obligated to give over their life to save yours. That's not in their contract. It's not in their pay grade. And the other part is that the police are not the military. So don't allow it to be militarized. That's number one. Mike Adams is absolutely, completely correct. Nutrition is number one. Without proper nutrition, not only do you get out of shape, you can't even think straight, which is why breakfast is the most important meal of the day. If you have something to do, if you don't have anything to do but sit around and watch TV till noon, then it's probably not. Eat whenever you want. Carbs in the morning, meat at night. No carbs after 2, you will be fit. Water, absolutely. Get rid of the fluoride, get rid of the chlorine. Number 3, environmental integrity confirmation, meaning Scott Portzline was on the show weekend before, Saturday before last night, and he said it was his opinion, always has been, that 3 Mile Island was caused by sabotage. So it's not going to hurt you to have a little Geiger counter, and it's not going to hurt you to have a little shortwave radio. And as far as firearms and ammunition are concerned, let me just leave it with this. Nobody needs to know where your stuff is except for you. Rule number 1, though, overall is, except for the nutrition, you got to have that. Your papers must be in order. What's the last thing the bad guy says to the good guy before the good guy escapes to Switzerland? He says, your papers appear to be in order. You may go. Keep your papers in order. Take care of business. Think. Network with your friends. And remember, this big power outage, Alex was talking about backup power. Very, very important, because all those, the better part of 1 billion people wound up without electricity. But the authorities said, but it's not a big deal because many of these people live without electricity anyway. So the numbers they were counting were just populations in those areas. It's like most of those people didn't have electricity to start with. That's a different deal if our grid goes down.
Absolutely.
Everything runs on that.
Well, very good information and advice, John, and I want to thank you so much for spending your time with us today after hosting Coast to Coast last night, and here you are with us today. It's been a great segment with you, and I really appreciate you coming on.
A real pleasure, my fellow radical. You know, that which used to be normal is now considered radical. Feels kind of good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, and you know how we both like to pay with cash, right? I pay with cash everywhere. If you think about it, paying with cash also supports local businesses because they don't have to lose the 3% that they pay to Visa or MasterCard to process your credit card. So cash actually supports local businesses.
I'd like to leave you with this, and I'll do it very quickly because I know we're on a clock. But with Caravan to Midnight on the Russian radiation detectors, I got a bunch of them. I was lucky and got a bunch of them. So I knocked $50 off of each one of the Russian units. We have some by Vince Mazer that are more sophisticated. They all do the same thing, but Vince's stuff you can track with this, and you can track the radiation readings over a period of time that you can program into the device. So go to caravantomidnight.com and check it out. But the other thing is this. We're going to stop taking credit cards pretty soon. We did that because we wanted it to be convenient to our customers. However, when we started looking at not only how the big banks treat us, but treat everybody else,
right?
I've just decided that I don't want these devices not to get in the hands of people who want them, but I'm done with the big banks. I'm done with it until when the whole legislature says, yeah, let's audit the Fed. And then I think it was Reid said, it'll never get through the Senate.
Right.
Could somebody explain to me why the membership of the Federal Reserve Bank is secret? I mean, what is this? Why do we stand for this?
Too many secrets, man. Everybody go watch that movie with Robert Redford called Sneakers, and you'll learn about too many secrets once again. John,
don't forget about 3 Days of the Condor either, okay?
Very good, very good. Good viewing advice from both of us here. John, thank you for joining us. Folks, check out his website, caravantomidnight.com. Also, just want to mention again, if you want to have real nutrition, stay alive, stay healthy, transform your health, your body, and your mind, check out Enerfood at the InfoWarsStore.com website. This is very, very good stuff. Thank you for being with us today. It's been my pleasure to be with you. I am Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, and I hope to join you again soon, right here in this chair, filling in. Take care.
Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough